Igazság pillanata, mert ami most történik, az tönkreteszi Európát. Tönkreteszi a biztonságát, tönkreteszi a gazdaságát. Hát lényegében Ukrajna pénzügyi értelemben nem létező ország. Hát ott olyan drasztikus visszaesése van a gazdasági teljesítménynek, ami a háború miatt teljesen érthető, amiből nyilvánvaló, hogy Ukrajna nem tudja saját magát finanszírozni. Az a kérdés, hogy mi fönntartjuk-e Ukrajnát. És abban a pillanatban az amerikaiak és Európa nemmel válaszol erre a kérdésre, akkor a háborúnak vége is van. Ott egy új helyzet áll elő.
Grazie, Presidente. So, the EU solution to the war in Ukraine is more war. Pile in the weapons, splurge on militarism, threaten to engage in all-out economic and financial war against Russia. So the same things you were doing already and expecting a different result. The true definition of madness. How is not selling Kerrygold butter to Russia going to save any Ukrainian lives? How is buying filthy fracked US gas going to stop the war? They won't, of course, because nowhere have sanctions ever succeeded in ending a military assault or achieving regime change. But what they have done is unleash economic devastation. This time round, which will be paid for by the people of Russia, including those out protesting against the war, and increasingly being paid for by the citizens of Europe, facing massive energy price hikes, inflation and a catastrophic decline in their living standards. Talk about shooting ourselves in the foot. And of course this moral outrage at Russia's illegal war, which has sparked this lunacy, is in sharp contrast to the lack of any such scruples in terms of the illegal US wars in Iraq or Afghanistan, which we not only didn't condemn, but we actually joined in and continue to do business with them all the way. No such scruples about Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen. And even as the victims of those conflicts in the last few weeks meet to desperately seek financial pledges for their humanitarian crisis, they're being left short by billions, while we're happy to spend billions prolonging the war in Ukraine. Makes me absolutely sick. 7 weeks ago, Germany's Chancellor Scholz correctly said, peace in Europe cannot be won against Russia. But that's exactly what we're doing. Yes, Russia bears responsibility for this conflict. Of course they do. But we cannot ignore the role of NATO. And the EU, instead of promoting peace and acting in the interests of the people of Europe, the Ukrainians, the EU citizens, and yes, the Russian citizens too, has become a tool of NATO.
US Defence Secretary have come out in the open now and basically said that they don't want peace. They want the war to continue in order to weaken Russia. And they are the ones fanning the flames. They see an opportunity to open up a market, obviously, for their filthy fracked gas. Their arms industry is happy days because you can't have an arms industry if you don't have an enemy. And big players in the US and Europe are dependent on Russian oil and gas. So they're not going to give that up. So meanwhile, while sections of America want us to bankrupt whole industries in countries like Germany, and the German leadership seem to be willing to go along with that. In America, they're continuing to do business because they say, well, sure, we have to. This is our jobs and our economy. We have no choice. I do think that a lot of people in Europe are scratching their heads. They don't know what's going on. They hate to see the destruction in Ukraine, but they're just getting this mantra of we need to send more arms, we need to send more arms, we need to have more sanctions, we need to have more sanctions. But they're not really getting access to critical thought about where is this leading? When did sanctions ever end a war?
Avanço no assunto Ucrânia, presidente, algum passo adiante?
Deixa eu te dizer uma coisa. Eu tenho uma tese que eu já defendi ela com Macron, com Olaf Scholz da Alemanha, com Biden. E ontem discutimos longamente com Xi Jinping. Ou seja, é preciso que se constitua um grupo de países dispostos a encontrar um jeito de fazer a paz. É preciso ter paciência para conversar com o presidente da Rússia, é preciso ter paciência para conversar com o presidente da Ucrânia, mas é preciso, sobretudo, convencer os países que estão fornecendo armas, incentivando a guerra, a pararem. Porque eu acho que quando começa uma briga, a gente fala em guerra, mas poderia ser uma briga de rua, poderia ser uma greve, ou seja, É preciso começar e saber como parar. E muitas vezes a gente não sabe como parar. Eu acho que a China tem um papel muito importante, eu continuo reiterando que a China possivelmente seja o papel mais importante. Agora, outro país importante é os Estados Unidos, ou seja, é preciso que os Estados Unidos pare de incentivar a guerra e comece a falar em paz. É preciso que a União Europeia comece a falar em paz, para a gente poder convencer o Putin e o Zelensky de que a paz interessa a todo mundo e a guerra só está interessando, por enquanto, aos dois.